Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Juice Baseball channel. And welcome to the official start of the Montreal Expos relocation franchise. Now, I did a relocation franchise last year with the Indianapolis Bolts, and I was debating whether or not to do another one this year. We've already got the Angels series going. They're into the year number 3 playoffs, year number 4 playoffs, whatever year it is. We got the Blue Jays Legend Series going right now as well. And obviously we're wrapping up the Juice Jr. Road to the Show. And I was thinking, should we do another expansion franchise or relocation franchise, I should say. And then I decided, you know what? Let's do one. I think it could be fun. I think it could be cool. But I wanted to put a twist on it. I didn't want to just relocate one of the random teams in baseball and just have their roster and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to do something a little bit different. So what I've done is I've gone through, and as you already know, I've made the Montreal Expos myself. Actually, I made this team myself. I created the uniforms, I created the roster, everything like that. So I went in and I released every single player from the Tampa Bay Rays. That's the team that we moved to Montreal, because in real life there's been heavy rumors over the past 5 years that the Rays were gonna move back to they were gonna move to Montreal out of Tampa Bay. They were gonna split half the season in Montreal, half the season in Tampa. It's been a bunch of different rumors over the past few years on what the Rays were gonna do. They're probably just gonna stay in Tampa, and then MLB will just expand and give Montreal a team again. That's probably what's gonna happen. But I just took since you can't expand in MLB The Show, you have to relocate a team if you want to change a team. So I just took the Tampa Bay Rays because of all those rumors, and we moved them out of Tampa to Montreal to give them back a team. And we made it the Expos, obviously, because that makes the most sense. And what I did with the roster was, like I said, I released every single Tampa Bay Ray player into free agency, and I changed every auto-generated guy or a minor league player that you can edit. Some of them, not the real players, obviously. And I made them into young, rookie / early in their career versions of legend players. So we've got guys like Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, and then some random ones, like we put Steven Strasburg in there. I think I have Tim Lincecum in there, and there's a bunch of randoms. We'll go over the roster in a second. But there's a bunch of random legendary players in there. And I know this could be similar to a Legend series, but the way that we're going to be doing this is, when we're going to have this team the entire time. So we're not going to be making any trades at the trade deadline. We're not going to be signing any free agents in the offseason, except for just bringing our own guys back when they need new contracts, obviously. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to keep this roster the entire time, and then every draft, when we draft players, we're going to, once they come on our roster, we will change them into rookie versions of other legend players that we have not had on the team yet. So let's say I didn't add, I don't know, I know for a fact I didn't add Adam Dunn to this roster. So let's say 1 year in the draft, we draft a guy that we like and we think he could be an Adam Dunn type, so we change him to be Adam Dunn, or at least a version of Adam Dunn. So basically, think of this, you know how in FIFA there are legendary players that retire. Like, let's say you get a couple years down the road, Lionel Messi retires, or Cristiano Ronaldo, a guy like that. Then the very next year, when you simulate that next year, you'll get a regen of that player. So that's kind of what my thinking is of this series. All of the people that I have on my team, on this Montreal Expos team, are regens of their legend counterparts. So they're not exactly the same, because they're like unproven versions of them, but they have the same qualities, the same height and weight, the same build. They're a copy of the real life player, just like a regen is, but they are the younger, inexperienced version of it. And some of them do resemble their real life counterpart. Some of them don't. I made every single player on this roster. It took me 2 months to do because I was also doing other stuff along with it. But in the background, I was making this roster, and I created every single player with a lot of help from YouTube. And we have some players that resemble people that they're supposed to be, and others that don't necessarily resemble as much. And that's the fun thing. Everybody, you'll know who everybody is because everybody's last name is the exact same as their real life counterpart. Their first name is different. Some are more different than others. Some are just the full name version. So like, let's say, because I know that we have Alex Rodriguez on this roster, but I changed his name to Alexander Rodriguez. So it's stuff like that. Instead of Alex Rodriguez, which is what he went by in Major League Baseball, he's now going by Alexander. His regen will go by Alexander Rodriguez. So it's stuff like that. We'll go through it as we talk about the roster and get more explanation into it. But I'm very excited about this. I think this could be a really fun idea, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. So without further ado, let's get into the actual roster. As you can already see, my number one starting pitcher is Rod Clemens instead of Roger Clemens. I shouldn't have to explain too much of this because you should be able to know pretty much everybody who I've who I have changed in here. And it looks like, oh, I must have forgot to change the name here. I don't have his name as Pedro. Do I not? Do I have it as Pedro? I could have sworn I changed it. Well, we have Pedro Martinez as regen on here, but I could have sworn that I didn't make it Pedro. What did I forget what I had it. Maybe I didn't save it when I changed the name. I must not have saved it. I could have swore I changed it, though. Well, I guess we're going to have to find a new name for him because he can't be called Pedro because that's what his real-life counterpart is called, and that's the whole idea. So I guess we call him... We're going to have to get rid of this audio, and we're going to have to call him... What name should we call Pedro? Let me figure it out real quick. I'll come back, I'll figure it out, and then we'll get started with actually going through the names. All right, I didn't do anything crazy. I just went, instead of Pedro, we just went Pablo. So Pablo Martinez is Pedro, and I saved it this time. I can't believe I didn't realize I changed that. But anyway, we're moving on. And as you can see, there's nobody higher than an 83 overall on this roster. So everybody's young. Everybody is in their prime, or entering their prime, basically, is how we're going to look at it. Nobody's older. I don't think anybody's older than 24. I don't think I made any 25-year-olds, but we'll get into that in a second. So our starting rotation is going to be Rod Clemens, Randall Johnson, Pablo Martinez, Noah Ryan, and Clay Kershaw. That is our starting five, our rotation, five-man rotation for the major leagues. Now, when I was creating these players, all of them have, like I said, the same height, the same weight as their real-life counterparts. They also have the same batting stance, if I could find it, and the same pitching motion, wind-up, if I could find it. So, a guy like Clayton Kershaw, or Clay Kershaw, I guess, has the same pitching motion as Clayton Kershaw, his counterpart. So, that's basically for everybody, just so I can explain it a little bit easier. But that's our five-man rotation. Then in AAA, we've got Anderson Pettit. We've got Felipe Hernandez. We've got Karsten Charles Sabathia, otherwise known as CC Sabathia. And I couldn't spell Charles fully because it cut me off, so I just I left out the E, so Charles. But we've got Karsten Charles Sabathia, John Cueto, and Josie Fernandez. Instead of Jose, we've got Josie, or Jose. And then he's also in AA. And then also in AA, you got Matthew Harvey, Timmy Lincecum, Steve Strasburg, Mads Bumgarner, and Shuhei Ohtani. And yes, I'm going to pronounce it Shuhei because he's not technically a real person, so I can pronounce it however I want it. And then I just have a bunch of random single A guys that I didn't edit. So those are all of our starting pitchers for this video, or for this franchise. Now, like I said, how we're going to do it is when we draft players every year in the draft, I'll just basically release some of these these Class A guys. We'll switch them with the guys that we draft, and then we will change them to be other players. So we don't have anybody like, I don't know, we don't have Garrett. We could get a Max Scherzer. We don't have Max Scherzer on here. We could add in a Max Scherzer regen to this, or Justin Verlander, or I don't know, name your pitcher. whoever maybe, you get the idea basically. And once you see it in practice, you'll understand it even better. As for the relief pitchers, we have Travis Hoffman, Eddie Gagne, Joaquim Benoit, Edward Diaz, he's in AAA, but he's a 75 overall, John Papelbon, and Houston, instead of Huston Street, it's Houston Street, because that's how I used to pronounce it when I was a kid, is Houston Street. And I think that is actually technically how you pronounce it, but it's spelled Huston. So I think I just went with the full actually Houston Street because I thought it'd be funny. And then Francesco Cordero, Kennedy Jansen, Zachary Britton, Kenneth Giles, Francis Rodriguez, Shane Doolittle, Kenny Wood, Marcus Melanson, and Ferdinand Rodney. And then you got Nathan Lavender, but he's a Rule 5 guy that was already on the Tampa Bay Rays. I couldn't get rid of him. I was just glad that I could get him down to AAA. He's not going to participate at all. I can't even do anything. I can't place him on outright waivers or anything because I have to promote him to AAA. I don't know what's going on with him. He's just all glitched. So at the end of the year, we'll get rid of him for sure. But then the rest of these guys are just Class A guys. So we have a pretty nice bullpen. And I'm sure I'm going to have some Freudian slips where I say their real life name instead of their regen name. That's just the way that it's going to be. But I thought that I originally was going to make it, they have different names entirely. Just the first letter of each, their first and their last name was going to be the same as their real life counterpart. But then I was like, you know what? That's going to be too annoying. I might as well keep their last name the same as their real life name. So it would be more, you could connect them easier to who they are the regen of. And that's what I decided on doing. Closing pitchers, we got Bill Wagner, we've got Adolis Chapman, and we've got Mauricio Rivera. So those are the three closing pitchers we have. Then at catcher, we've got Mike Piazza. We've got Joey Mauer, Eiley Rodriguez, Gerald Posey, who is Buster Posey, but his real name's actually Gerald if you didn't know, Carl Fisk, and John Lucroy. Those are the catchers. And you may be wondering why I chose some of these guys. A lot of the guys that I chose to be on this first team, this first incarnation of the team, is because they have actual like batting stances or stuff in the game. It was just easier that way. They have windups, they have the batting stances in the game. It was just easier to create them that way. At first base, we have King Fielder instead of Prince Fielder. We have King Fielder. We have Marcus McGuire. We have Al Pujols. We have Frankie Thomas and Marcus Teixeira. Those are our first basemen. At second base, we have Chris Biggio, Alonzo Soriano, Robbie Cano, Bradley Phillips, and David John LeMahieu. If you didn't know, DJ LeMahieu's name is David John. So if you got a guy, you should have picked up on this by now, but if you got a guy that has initials for his name, like CC Sabathia or DJ LeMahieu, I just picked their full name. At third base, we got Peter Rose. He loves to gamble. We've got Alexander Rodriguez. We've got Christopher Bryant, Mikel Cabrera, Eli Longoria. I had to pick a guy from Tampa, obviously. And then Scotty Rowland. Those are our third basemen. At shortstop, Dion Jeter, Calvin Ripken, Torey Tulowitzki, Eddie Renteria, and Hanley Ramirez, if you weren't familiar with who that was, and Edgar Renteria. At left field, we've got Bartholomew Bonds. I had to pick something hilarious because I wasn't sure what I was going to switch for Barry. Like how else, what other names can be similar to Barry that isn't too far off? And then I was like, what's the full name of Barry? It's Bartholomew. And I was like, you know what? That's going to be legendary, so I'm going to pick Bartholomew Bonds. And that's what I've chosen. We've got Rick Henderson. We've got Joshua Hamilton, Manuel Ramirez, and Ryder Braun. Also steroidy. And you may notice I have a lot of steroid-era players in this team. And those are the players I like. In center field, we've got Kenneth Griffey Jr., we've got Mick Mantle, we've got Michael Trout, Mike Fishman, Matthew Kemp, and Carlo Beltran. Now, I didn't put a ton of people that are still in Major League Baseball on this roster, but I did add some of the greats. Like I have Clayton Kershaw, obviously, as Clay Kershaw. We have Mike Trout as Michael Trout. So I didn't add a bunch of them, but there are some sprinkled in. There will be continuing to be some. And then right field, we've got Samuel Sosa, however way you want to pronounce it. Suzu Ichiro. This one was probably the toughest one because Ichiro Suzuki is such a difficult name to do this process with, and I was trying to think of a name that you could put as in replace of Suzuki, and I was just like, let's just shorten it to Suzu, and I Googled it, and Suzu actually is a name in Japan. And so I was like, you know what, that works. And so Suzu Ichiro is going to be, and I made Ichiro the last name because that's going to be on the back of the jersey. You don't want Suzu on the back of the jersey. You're not going to know who that is. So Ichiro is on the back of the jersey. And that's how it was in real life. I'm pretty sure Ichiro was in the back of his jersey in real life, not Suzuki. So then we've got Ricky Jackson, Mr. October. I guess this one's going to be Mr. What is this going to be? Mr. November, maybe? Because he can't be Mr. October, so maybe he's Mr. November. I don't know. And then you got Michael Stanton, because obviously, fun fact if you didn't know, Giancarlo Stanton's real name is Michael. He just changed it to Giancarlo during his career. So Michael Stanton is the man we picked. And then Boyce Harper, which I thought was the funniest version of Bryce, so I went with Boyce. Boyce Harper is the final man on the team. That is our entire roster, Major League, AAA, AA. Obviously, we don't have any Class A players because I talked about that. No, none of these guys are part of the organization. But like I said, I did go in and create every single player. So all these guys are my own creation. Their ratings, their stats, their age, their overall, their potential, everything about them is my own creation. I did not upload this roster to the upload script because I don't know how to do that really. I made this in the franchise. I didn't make this like out of the franchise. So I don't think I can upload this roster. I don't think I can because I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can upload this outside of franchise mode because I made this in the franchise. Like I created the franchise with Tampa Bay. I relocated them to Montreal. I already had the uniforms created and everything like that. And then I whatchamacallit? I release all the Tampa Bay players into free agency, which we can go and take a look. I think there might be some still in here. Yeah, Brandon Lau hasn't gotten a job yet. Shane McClanahan's still here. A lot of the Tampa Bay players are still here without jobs. Some of them got picked up as I simulated spring training, but some of them are still here. Maybe they're asking for too much money. I don't know. But that is where we land. And like I was saying, I don't think if I would have made this roster before I started the franchise, maybe that I could have uploaded it then, but I don't think I can now. So that's kind of sucks. Or maybe there's a way that I can. I don't really know about it. If you want to tell me, that'd be awesome. But that is our roster. The pitcher rotation, like I said, is going to be Clemens, Martinez, Johnson, Kershaw, and Ryan. Then our bullpen is going to be Hoffman is the closer. Actually, no, we're going to have Billy Wagner as the closer. That would make more sense. And then Hoffman and Gagne as the setup guys. We got Houston Street, Benoit, and Papelbon. We don't really have any long relief guys right now, but that is going to be our bullpen. Some of them have okay stamina. They got like 30-plus stamina. And Gagne and Hoffman both have decent stamina. They can be long relief if we need them to. And then the lineup is going to be... Ooh, we actually have a missing piece here. So I guess let's just get the lineup figured out right now. So we want Jeter playing shortstop and starting for us. Mantle, we're not going to have him be the center fielder. We're going to have Griffey be the center fielder. Rose is going to be the third baseman. Fielder is going to be... or third baseman. Did I say first baseman? I don't know. The fielder is going to be at first. We're going to have Bonds in left. This must be the DH then. Who do we want the DH? We got a lot of good options. We got McGuire. We've got Rodriguez. We got a bunch of different people who could be the DH guy. We got Sosa and right, Piazza behind the plate, and then Biggio as the second baseman. I think we're going to start off with McGuire being the DH, at least against righties. Against lefties, they want Ichiro to be the DH. I don't really like that. We could do A-Rod against lefties. That might not be that bad. Let's see. Who do we want to be against lefties? Probably just McGuire again because he's got 77 power versus lefties. Let's do A-Rod. A-Rod against lefties, but he's not going to be hitting first. We're going to actually have Chris Biggio hit first. And then we're going to have Jeter. Then... No. We're going to have Rose hit first. P-Rose going to hit first. Biggio will hit ninth. Then we'll have... Jeter hits second. Fielder hits third. Bonds hits 4. Griffey hits 5. Sosa, A-Rod, Piazza, Biggio. But then this lineup, do we want Pete to hit first again? Probably have Pete lead off, then Jeter. Griffey can hit third this time. Bonds will hit 4. Fielder hits 5. McGuire, Sosa. Let's have Sosa and then McGuire, and then Piazza, then Biggio. All right, that'll be how we do it. That'll be how we do it against lefties and righties. I guess we could take a look at the top prospects list, even though we're going to be a big part of it. Jesus Made is the second best prospect. Chris Bryant is the top prospect in baseball. Christopher Bryant. So That's good to see. But obviously, we got a lot of our players are top 50 prospects or top 100 prospects, as you would expect. But it's good to see that Christopher Bryant's the number 1 prospect in baseball, as I think he was in real life. And if we go to our GM goals, this is what we're looking at. We go to our budget. Obviously, we're not paying anybody that much money. All of the guys that are not under contract are the Class A people and people that we don't really care about. But we're not going to be paying that many people that much money, so we don't have to worry about all that. And that's why it's going to be easier to keep them around because they're under contract for so long. Like some of these guys, if we take a look at their contracts, if I go back to the budget, if we take a look at their contracts, they're under contract until like 2030. So we aren't going to be paying anybody any money, which is why we're going to be able to keep this roster around. Now we can take a look at contracts, staff contracts, coaches. Kevin Cash is our manager because I didn't change it. I don't think you can create a manager, can you? I don't think so. It'd be kind of cool if you could, because I just create myself as the manager, but I don't think you can. So Kevin Cash will be our manager for now. We could just fire a bunch of these guys if we wanted to. And you know what? New team, might as well get a new staff in here. Let's fire this guy and find somebody new. Who do we want? We want William Yang? Yeah, sure, why not? Make an offer on William Yang. He's going to be our new hitting coach. And then we'll fire Kyle Snyder because he sucks. So bye-bye Kyle Snyder. We'll fire CJ Simas. We'll fire Alex Ritoto. And Hidalgo will get fired as well. So we'll keep Kevin Cash. Maybe we shouldn't keep Kevin Cash. Who's other manager options? Oh, Simas actually could be our manager. That could be a fun little storyline. Maybe we move him up. We fire Kevin Cash. I don't know, but let's get our pitching coach figured out here. Alex Ritoto. Let's hire you as our guy here. He's accepted the pitching coach job. First base coach Junior Moreno is going to be our new first base coach. Third base coach, we're going to have Andres Ruiz is his name. And then the farm director, we're going to have... Who should we have here? Not really a lot of options at farm director. Let's go up here. We could just have Simas, unless we want Simas to be our manager. That's the big thing. Do we want Simas to be our manager? Maybe. Let's do Oliver Lopez. I know he's got -1 to pitching clutch, but let's do Oliver Lopez. Oliver Lopez is going to be our farm director. So we have a whole new staff of coaches, except for our manager. And you know what? I think I might fire Kevin Cash. We have to pay out $10 million. We have $10 million, so sorry, Kevin, but you're no longer our manager. We're going to go for CJ Simas. He was on our staff, and now he is our manager. He gets promoted. So congratulations, CJ Simas. Simas? I don't know. I'm going to call him Simas. He's been promoted to manager. Congratulations. We could also take a look at scouting things because I don't really know here. We don't really care about this too much because, like I said, we're going to be changing the draft picks anyway into our own people. But we actually have some decent scouts right now. We have some decent scouts, although we could use, like, Jeff Shepard looks pretty sick. Although the efficiency is not amazing. We could switch it with Asuna. Oh, we can't afford that contract. Never mind. We can't switch any of our staff. Luckily, we have pretty decent staff, but we can't switch any of it. We're not going to play any games today. This is just kind of a get-to-know-the-team type of thing. But we are, in the next episode, probably going to play the full opening day just so we can get a glimpse at what the stadium looks like. I have a custom stadium as well. It's even labeled and looks very similar to the original Montreal Expos stadium that they played in back in the day. I found that on the community stuff. Somebody had made that, so I was like, you know what, that fits perfectly. So we have all that kind of stuff. Sponsors, I don't really have any good sponsors, do I? I only have 2 silver sponsors. I guess we'll put one in. Might as well use them, I guess. But yeah, that is kind of all that we really need to talk about. I think I've gone over everything like that. Like I said, we removed the Tampa Bay Rays, so we are in the American League East, and we're going to have to take on some interesting people. We are going to take on some interesting people, but that is basically all I wanted to show you guys in this first episode, just meeting the team, seeing all that kind of stuff, seeing your reaction is going to be pretty fun to see how you guys think of this series and stuff. But I'm very excited to do it. I can't wait to get started here. And yeah, I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Thank you for stopping by. I truly appreciate it. And I will catch you in episode number 2, technically episode number 1, the first real episode of gameplay here in the Montreal Expos. I'm excited, man. I hope you guys are too. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.